Welcome back. I'm Michael Ray. You're listening to thought-provoking talk on Dresser After Dark. April Brown is with us, successful charity auctioneer and the CEO of Charity Auction World, which has raised millions and millions of dollars for numerous nonprofit organizations all across the country for over 21 years now. She's also the founder and the director of Whisker City, a nonprofit, non-kill feline shelter in the Pacific Northwest. And in addition, April is a passionate nonprofit activist supporting the rights of individuals and organizations in the nonprofit community. And she has shared a poem called The Dash on a WordPress blog, and the author is demanding that April Brown pay $7,500 for sharing the poem. And we're using this extortion tactic as an attempt that they were, not we are. Susie Greenman probably did. I wouldn't do that. to scare April into paying this ridiculous sum of money. April, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. You got to watch Susie. She'll get you.
Yeah, I'm sneaky.
She's sneaky, but
She's been lovely.
Yeah, she's lovely, but if I read it wrong, I'm in trouble here. Now, by the way, how did this start for you? Is that what happened? The poem. What actually went on?
It's so simple. It's very simple to explain. Last October, I got an email from a gentleman by the name of John W. Jolin, claiming to be a copyright representative, asking me to pay $7,500 because I had infringed on Linda Ellis's copyright of the Dash poem. And what I'd simply done was someone had sent me a poem. I just threw it up on a WordPress blog and didn't think about it anymore. And it was only up for a few days when I got this email. And I just ignored the email, but I took the poem down. I thought it sounded like a scam, actually, so I just ignored it. The letter's really not that well written, but it had a lot of legalese, and so I just thought, I'll just take it down. The poem didn't mean anything to me anyway, so I did. Then about a month later, I got another letter, and a month later, I got another letter. So I called the author, and she didn't return my phone calls, and I started searching on the internet, and I really couldn't find any information on the subject of, copyright infringement for posting a poem on a blog. So just for the heck of it, I put out a press release to see if there was anybody else who had been through this. And that's when the author exploded onto the scene in pretty much very vile terms.
No, by the way,
that's how I heard about her.
When it really comes down to it, so it starts out at one thing, okay? So the author is complaining, but as it goes along, it gets worse, doesn't it?
Well, what's going on with me is really worse than what many bill collectors do. She does the kind of things that you're going to be shocked at, and I still am. I still shake my head every single day. She started by sending a series of emails. I'd get these emails all times, day or night, early in the morning, late at night. She lives in Marietta, Georgia, so we have quite the time difference. So I'd always take that into consideration. But there were always these raging emails, and I'm not sure if you got a copy of those, but I did send a copy of the letter I got to your show. And they were all really demeaning emails, accusing me of being a liar, a thief, stealing her poem, really just aggressive emails. And then she actually sent emails to my clients. She sent one to my client that said, if I use copyrighted material on their behalf, that they're going to be held responsible, and it's something for them to think about. She wrote letters to my husband's place of employment. She did a copyright strike on my YouTube account. It had none of her nothing on my YouTube account had anything to do with
April. Let me hold you up for a minute. I have a question. Isn't what she's doing illegal? When you can.
Well,
go ahead.
You're right. The bill collectors can't do this. The Federal Trade Commission, and this is the direction I think I'm going to go with this, is the Federal Trade Commission. But, you can't contact neighbors. You can't contact employers. You can't call before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m. And you can't be harassing and abusive. And this author has been all of those things.
And by the way, April, there's one other thing to add to this mix. if they cost you money, if they somehow affect your income, there's a problem there also.
Well, that's interesting that you mention that, because on my YouTube channel, I have, like 245 videos, and I make videos for my clients, and then after we do an auction, then they embed them on their website, and some of these videos are extremely meaningful. I don't know if you know about Jack Leinstedt, but Jack Leinstedt is the gentleman who was paralyzed as a young man playing football, and I've got a video up there the first time he's ever taken steps in public. And these videos are embedded all over, so when she shut down my YouTube channel, which it is shut down right now, I'm having to fight to get my YouTube channel back up, but it's shut down, but all these videos are all over, embedded on people's websites.
Yeah, April, I'm not an attorney, and so but when you really come down to it, I would talk to your attorney, because there's that point where you step out of bounds, and there's that point where it turns on you, the person that's doing the accusations. There is a point where they go too far, and this woman could be in major trouble here.
Well, I believe she is. I haven't gone that direction with my energy at this point. One, I'm not really worried about my reputation. That's one thing. But the other is I want to warn others. My issue is I think she's pretty much done with me in terms of the money. She knows I've already stated publicly many, many times I'm never going to pay her one dime. And I'm putting my energy into basically a public service announcement, which is beware, don't share. And if you have the dash poem anywhere on your website, get it down, warn others, and let others know that this actually goes on. I had no idea that someone could come after you for copyright infringement for sharing a poem. I didn't know that. Now that I've been involved in this since last October, I've discovered this whole arena of they call them copyright trolls.
Sure.
That's what it's called. And these letters are referred to as extortion letters, and people actually pay off these copyright trolls and these authors because these letters are so aggressive. I mean, the letter, just to give you an idea, these letters threaten that they will get, that you will, if you take you to court, you're going to spend $30,000. They're going to charge you $30,000 per infringement and up to $150,000. Well, that is the law, and it is a civil law, but that is the law.
Sure.
But nobody gets charged with that.
No, but the other side of that, let me ask you a question, and I have no idea what I'm talking about here. When you when you put a poem up, did you have her name on it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now,
and I also, when I shared the poem, it actually had her name was hyperlinked. I didn't click through, but it was hyperlinked, and so I just put it up there. I hadn't even read the whole thing. I just saw it. It was sent to me, so I just threw it up on my blog.
Sure, okay.
And it was hyperlinked to her website.
All right, now, as somebody who has no idea what they're talking about here, so her name is there. It's hyperlinked to the website. Did you make any money on the poem?
No.
Of course not. Okay,
no,
so
it's an inspirational. I mean, she probably doesn't make any money on her poem. How many poets do you know make money? I mean, Maya Angelou doesn't charge $7,500 for a poem, and she's one of the most noted poems in the entire universe.
So, what copyright infringement are we dealing with? That's where I'm going with this.
Her claim is that she has sole control over the content of this poem.
Yeah.
And that she chooses who actually gets to share her poem. And in my case, she doesn't even want me reading her poem. Her emails, if you got a chance to read any of them, she is very offended that I'm the kind of person, she refers to me as this kind of person, this liar, cheat, and thief, that she does not want even reading her poem, sharing her poem, talking about her poem. So she's very controlling in her language. I don't know if she gets away with it, but she's very controlling in her language about who actually even reads her poem, which to me is something I have never heard of in my entire life.
Okay, but the letter that you got was from a copyright coordinator. It's not a copyright attorney.
It's not a legal document
No.
whatsoever. And this is the message that I want people to get clear on. They don't have to pay. Anyone can make a demand, but you don't have to pay. Just wait. People just need to wait it out because they eventually will go away.
But if they can scare you, and that's basically what we're talking about here,
Yeah.
they scare
Yeah.
people, and people end up paying. This is again. I'm not an attorney, but this is ludicrous. There are a few steps that you take a look at before you even get into anything like this, and this is pure fraud. Any way you look at it, any way, shape, or form, this is intimidation, and I mean the list goes on. Has this cost your husband any money?
Well, my husband's worked at the radio station he's a sports broadcaster here in Seattle for over 30 years. So when she sent the first letter to his employer here in Seattle, they just laughed it off and gave it to him and gave it to me. And then because now everything that she does, I post. I created a blog at aprilbrown.com called Beware Copyright Trolls. And so everything she does, I post. So now I've never initiated any of this activity, but when she comes over into my world, I'm posting. So I'm shedding a light on that. When I did that, she actually wrote to the chairman of the Bonneville Corporation, which is, a pretty big outfit, and complained. And she says, let me read this to you really quickly. She says, we are trying to bring to your attention continuing ethics violation brought forth by Miss April Brown, business partner and wife of 710 ESPN and 93.7 Kairos Mike Brown. In defense of her unlawful copyright infringement of registered copyrighted work, she has launched an aggressive defamation campaign on the character of the copyright owner and of the work she misappropriated to promote April and Mike Brown's business. So she's trying to, I guess, I don't even know how that fits into anything, but her goal was to harm him, and by harming him, harm me.
Sure.
Well, then, of course, he's been with the company so long, they thought it was laughable, too. So, once again, that's illegal. With the Federal Trade Commission, you really can't do that if you're a bill collector, and I intend to make them aware of this issue in terms of Linda Ellis and the Dash.
By the way, when she finally gets nailed and it's all over and done with, I think your husband should send her an email. And the email should say something very simple. Strike 3.
Well, you're just wonderful. You know the thing, though, that this is really a big deal, this copyright strikes that she did on YouTube. That is a form of censorship that I never knew anyone could even get away with. You know right now that you can file a complaint, it's called a copyright strike, on anyone's YouTube channel, and if you file 3 of those strikes, they close your channel down. And if you don't know how to write the letters, and you don't know how to communicate with YouTube, it's very difficult. And if you don't know how to do that, you can no longer have another YouTube channel. You are banned for life.
Wow.
So what happened to me is I really didn't know what to do when she started filing these strikes, these copyright strikes. 1 a week, she got it shut down, and I found the most wonderful organization. I highly recommend anyone who's in this situation to find them. It's called extortionletterinfo.com. And these guys got on the bandwagon. They helped me write my legal letters. I still don't have my channel back, but hopefully it'll be back up by Friday. Friday's the first day that it could be back up, and it might go into next week. But had it not been for these guys, I'd still be out there just, fighting my own way. And this is why she's so successful. Because, one, you've never heard of it. And until I came on the scene with my blog, you couldn't find one single thing on the subject. Nothing. So, but now the internet, I've flooded the internet with information on this issue. The other thing to keep in mind is who the victims are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like me, but the biggest victims are people who run funeral homes that have, and this is a bereavement poem, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is, someone has a death in the family, they put the poem into a program, or they post it on one of those commemorative sites for their beloved.
Yeah.
And she goes after every single person in that chain. Now, how do I know that? After I started putting this information out, I started getting the phone calls. I've met a gentleman whose niece was killed in a horseback riding accident. He put the poem on a private blog. She's demanding $7,500 from him. He was crying on the phone to me, crying because he said it was like getting kicked when you're down. Imagine spending, what do you spend on a funeral? $15,000, $20,000? Then somebody wants $7,500?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Ridiculous.
Loud and clear. We're
ridiculous.
starting to run out of time, but I think that woman, her worst nightmare is going to be everything that you're doing, and she's going to be sorry for what she did.
Yeah, she claims she's got this brand called Live Your Dash, but I believe the Live Your Dash brand and this whole Live Your Dash concept is basically just a front for this operation. There's just no way that she's ever going to give this up, because who makes money on poetry? I have many friends who are poets. It's very difficult to make any money on poetry. But $7,500 a pop, just managing a little boiler room operation out of your living room, having your brother and your daughter and your husband send letters, and it works. She actually said to me in one of those emails that I'm the first person who's ever gone up against her, and she's collected in 99.9% of her claims.
Wow.
That's a lot of claims. If you go Google that poem, it's on millions, literally millions of websites, illegally, by the way.
Unbelievable. Could we get your website?
Yes, my website is aprilbrown.com, and they'll find the information under Beware Copyright Trolls. But I want you to know the most valuable resource really in this whole conversation is Extortion Letter Info. This was started by a man by the name of Matthew Chan, and there's also a legal advisor on there. His name is Oscar Michelin, and these guys are really the heroes in this movement.
I think I'm going to go after.
They're dealing with copyright infringement on photographs.
Yeah, I'm going to go after him and see if I can get him on the air. And by the way, April,
you'll love them. They're wonderful, wonderful people. I challenge you to interview her.
Oh, you know what? Not a bad idea. Well, I've got I've got your letter, so I've got her contact information. My pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a delight talking to you, Michael.
Oh, thank you so much for being here and everything that you're doing. You're probably saving some lives out there.
I get at least one email a day from a victim, and I get a couple of emails a day from people thanking me, and that's really the reward I have right now. That's where I'm putting my time and energy. I'm really not too worried about hiring an attorney right now. But when the time comes, if I need to, believe me, I will. And I think this really is good for me. It's going to fall under the Federal Trade Commission more so than any other branch of the federal government.
Okay, I'm going to go after her and see if I can get her on the air.
Thank you, dear.
Oh, take care. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, young lover. Hello, young lover. Hello, young